Now, Roblox has recently announced a reordering badges in public beta because previously badges were displayed in the order that they were created. So as this Roblox staff here acknowledges, it was difficult to create logical and aesthetic badge groupings on experience details pages. So we created a new UI to order badges directly on the Create Hub. This is how it's reordered. I'm not going to get too technical with this on the Roblox side of things, but I will address Tower Defense Simulator side of things. Because as you'll notice with Tower Defense Simulator's badges, they are sort of, shall we say, out of whack. So as you can see, level 30 is the top one here, but then level 10 and then level 20, but then it goes back up to level 50, level 75, level 100, but then you have to get to level 150 all the way down here, which makes no sense whatsoever. So you would not know that there was like a level 150 badge because it's not ordered correctly. In fact, it's not even ordered that well. 30, 10, 20, 50, 75, 100, 150, with a large gap between 100 and 150. Now, the reason why there is a large gap is because these badges were created, I want to say around 2019 these were created. They were recently updated, I believe. Yeah, apparently they were updated on the 19th of November 2024. But the first badge to be added, or well, actually the first badge that is probably active right now is the level 30 badge. The reason why this badge is active is because it gives you the Crook Boss in the game. And the Crook Boss was the first tower in the game to be unlocked with a level. I believe at the time, actually no, that was the Mega Update. In the Mega Update, some towers were locked to be only if you were above a certain level to actually unlock them. Either that or that was the Overhaul Update. I think it was the Overhaul Update, not the Mega Update. In any case, level 10, level 20, those were badges that were added after the level 30 badge, hence why they appear out of order. Then level 50 was added for the turret, and level 75 was added for the mortar, then level 100 for the pursuit. I believe these badges were added at the same time and not actually added alongside their towers, but that's why they appear in order. Well, apart from level 30. And then the level 150 badge, that appears right at the end here, because that unlocks the mercenary base, and for some reason they decided to have the mercenary base be a badge. Now, the only reason why it's all the way down here is because there's been a load of badges that were added since, including the Gravedigger, Molten Warlord, well, that used to be the Molten Boss. But interestingly, developers have actually reorganized some stuff already. As you can see here, the Defeated the Brute badge, that used to be all the way down here below the Patient Zero, but they've for some reason decided to move it up to the next to the Welcome to TDS badge. However, I would not think that this is a logical order. Why would you have Defeat the Brute in easy mode here? Why would you have it below, say, Defeat the Gravedigger or Defeat the Molten Warlord? Surely it would be like above them, right? Because it clearly goes in game mode order, game mode difficulty order. Gravedigger, Molten Warlord, Fallen King. Why go then to the Brute? Why then go to Hardcore, then go to the special maps? Like the special maps, they're already kind of in order, but then you get to level 150, and then you all the way get to Patient Zero all the way down here, and then the question mark badge here. This makes no logical sense whatsoever. So if you were to ask me, the way that I would order it is have the Welcome to TDS badge at the very top, then get level 10, 20, 30, 50, 75, 100. Level 150 gets moved all the way up here. Then you get the game mode badges. Firstly, Defeat the Brute should have its own image. I don't know why it's still a question mark. What developers, did you not pay your renderer that enough money to actually make a badge? I'm pretty sure it could be easy enough done. Just crop it from like the thumbnail, which included the Brute. I believe it's still on the... No, it's not on the thumbnail, but there was a Brute image that you could just easily crop and then use it here. So it should be Brute, Gravedigger, Molten Warlord. Patient Zero should be moved up to, between the Gravedigger and the Molten Warlord. Then the Fallen King can remain where it is. I don't know about the question mark badge, because that is technically a mystery badge. So having it at the very bottom kind of adds to the allure of it. But then again, people know how to get it. It's the Hidden Wave badge. Then after that, I don't know. I think I want special maps to be added first. So it should be the Gunslinger badge, then Quick Draw, then Walks the Fox and Lost Souls, and then the Nuclear Monster. Because Nuclear Monster, you only can get it after level 50. And then after the Nuclear Monster, it's Triumph Hardcore mode. And after that, then we can have event badges. As of recording this right now, there are fake event badges for the Ducky Revenge event. I assume this video is going to release further on along down the line, but these badges will actually be the event badges. Now, as you'll notice, that there are a couple of badges missing. In fact, there are a lot of badges missing, including like all of the event badges, including Augmented Gladiator, Summer 2019, Halloween 2019, Winter. All of these event badges, basically, are no longer appearing on the game page for Tower Defense Simulator. The reason why is because of the lack of reordering. Basically, these badges would clog up the top half of the table for the badges for Tower Defense Simulator, therefore meaning that you scroll all the way down to get to these badges. So it might not be immediately obvious that these badges are the ones that you can get because the top half of the table had like these badges, these event badges, and these event badges weren't even in order. They were only in order because they had to remove like the map badges, for example, because the event badges, for example, the Summer 2019 badge was added before some of the map badges here. So I believe it was like construction crazy, stuff like that. And then there's some like disabled badges, for example, the original hidden wave badge or hidden badge does not appear on this because apparently, or I speculate that it will cause too much confusion either with the triple question mark badge or the fact that it'll be somewhere in the middle here, because it was an early badge that was added. I think it was added around here. It would have been between level 100 and the Gravedigger. And the fact that the badge exists would lead to people question, how can you get the badge? And then realize, oh wait, you can't get the badge. I'm going to dislike this game because the developers made a badge that I can't get. With this reordering badges, what the developers can do is like shove them all the way down to the bottom of the table, clearly indicating that these badges, they used to exist, but you can no longer get them anymore. Which is the reason why all of these badges here, including like Defeat the Nuclear Fallen King, Western Action, Hardcore Beta, well, this is why all of these badges were kind of removed. In fact, the Suspicious badge, that was actually added before being removed again, because I guess it was causing some confusion. There's also the Dob Yes Yes badge, that was also removed. Could be because that the event ended, but then again, another reason is that it was interfering with like the badges here in the list order. Because on the wiki, we're able to group these quite nicely into like level badges, into event badges, into map badges, which map badges don't exist anymore, then achievement badges. The developers cannot do this, well, until now, but it seems like the only thing they've done is just move the brute badge to be underneath the Welcome to TDS badge and not rearrange anything else. While this may not seem like a big deal, I think it could be a big deal for the developers because it can allow some badges to actually remain on the game page after they have concluded. Sure, it'll be at the very bottom of the page to indicate the fact that you cannot get these badges anymore, but it does mean that badges aren't going to be culled immediately after the event ends because it interferes with like other evergreen badges that may need to take precedent because they need to be further above. So I really want like the original event badges to be in the game page just to show that, oh yes, I have this badge does exist, I'm not making this badge up. But then again, who knows? I don't think the developers would do this. I just think the developers should really reorganize their badge list to actually make comprehensible sense. Like at least change level 30 to be underneath level 10 and level 20. I know you couldn't reorder it before, but you've clearly reordered the Defeat the Brute badge to be up here. Why can't you just move this badge? Come on. However, there is one thing in Tower Defense Simulator that makes me want to think that the developers really don't care about badges all too much anymore, and that's achievements, because they've decided in the game to add achievements, which these could realistically be badges on their own. However, as listing them as achievements here, it gives them more publicity because in the UI for the lobby, I assume more people interact with this than look at the badges for the game. More importantly, some of these badges here, some of these achievements, sorry, are just replicas of badges. So for example, Triumph in Intermediate mode, Triumph in Molten mode, whereas here, there's additional things to this. So for example, complete a match of Molten in a hard map, or complete a match of Molten on an insane map. Then we've got Average Joe, Triumph in Casual mode, Officer, 50 Triumphs in any map or game mode, 500 Triumphs in any map or game mode for Mastermind, Warhawk, 100 Triumphs in any map or game mode. Realistically, all of these could be badges. And in fact, as I make this video, the developers have actually reorganized the badges in the way that I wanted them to. So for example here, welcome to TDS, they've actually put this at the start. Now they've got level 10, 20, 30, 50, 75, 100. And 150. Then you got the Brute all the way down to Fallen King. Then question mark, question mark, question mark. I would have thought it was at the end. No, they've moved it up to Fallen King. Then they got Nuclear Monster, which is not the order I would have gone for. I would have gone for Badlands 2, Pizza Party, then the Nuclear Monster. Meanwhile, Hardcore mode, they've interestingly moved it to the end of the game, even though I'd say Hardcore mode is probably just about harder than Defeated Nuclear Monster. As a regular, quote, regular game mode, it really ought to be like here after Defeat the Fallen King. So they have actually reorganized the badges as I thought that they would. Well done me, I guess. Let's see if my speculation was correct. And most of my speculation on this topic was actually correct. Yes, now I guess the badge system or the badge list in Tower Defense Simulator later now makes sense. I just don't think that they're going to add any more badges to Tower Defense Simulator because they're all just going to go into achievements.